What kind of bowling alley charges a family of for almost $100 for 2 games and shoes? That's what Nathaniel Owens overheard a frustrated dad say outside one of his bowling alley locations last week. The comment stuck with him. He didn't respond. The man didn't know he was the CEO. Nathaniel just watched him load his 2 kids into the back of a beat-up minivan and drive off. Nathaniel bought the chain 10 years ago. It had 20 locations now, spread across 3 states. Business was steady, and most of his time was spent with accountants and marketing teams, not bowling pins and nacho cheese. But lately, numbers from the Midbrook location weren't adding up. Sales were up, but foot traffic was down. That didn't make sense. He didn't trust spreadsheets this time. He needed to see what was happening on the floor. So, Nathaniel went undercover. He shaved his beard, dyed his hair a darker brown, and wore thick-rimmed glasses. He used a fake name, Neil. His cover story? A new hire doing a trial week as a trainee. It was believable Midbrook had high turnover. Most of the staff didn't know him in person. Some had never even seen a photo. Monday morning, he walked through the glass double doors into the Midbrook location. The smell was the same old carpet, fryer grease, cheap soap. He hadn't smelled that in years. "Neil, right?" said a short woman with a tired voice. Her name tag read Nora Phelps, assistant manager. She looked about 30, tight ponytail, dark circles under her eyes. "That's me," Nathaniel said. "You'll be shadowing me and Josh this week. He's the general manager. Don't take it personally if he doesn't talk much. He's blunt." "Got it." She handed him a red polo shirt. "Welcome to the circus." By noon, Nathaniel had already swept lanes, wiped down ball returns, and restocked the rental shoes. The place was clean, but the atmosphere was tense. No music, no laughter. Staff looked tired. Customers weren't smiling. At 2, a family came in, 2 parents, 3 kids. The youngest, a boy with glasses and a Batman hoodie, was practically bouncing. "We'd like to do 2 games each, and we'll need 5 pairs of shoes," the dad said at the counter. Josh, the GM, was behind the register. Mid-30s, sharp haircut, expensive watch. He didn't look up. "That'll be $94 even." The dad blinked. "For 2 games. Prices are on the board." The mom stepped forward. "Wait, we came last year. It was way cheaper." Josh shrugged. "You're welcome to go somewhere else." The boy's excitement faded fast. "Babe, let's just do 1 game," the dad said quietly. Nathaniel watched the whole thing from behind the shoe rack. That number didn't feel right. He checked the pricing sheet taped under the counter. It said $6 per game for shoes. That should have been $50, not $94. After the family left, Nathaniel leaned toward Nora. "Hey, do we charge extra for something today?" She looked over her shoulder, then lowered her voice. "Josh says we have discretionary pricing. He tells us to round up if it seems like they can afford it." Nathaniel stared at her. "Is that even allowed?" She hesitated. "I don't know. I just work here." That night, Nathaniel sat in his car in the parking lot, staring at the glowing red sign above the building. His stomach turned. He'd built this company to be affordable fun. Something for families who didn't have a lot of options. Now his manager was squeezing them for every dollar? He wasn't sure what hurt more, the scam or the look on that kid's face when his family had to cut their time short. Nathaniel wasn't ready to blow his cover yet, but he was ready to know more. Tomorrow, he'd start asking real questions. Tuesday started earlier than expected. Nathaniel pulled into the lot at 7:30. The lights inside the alley were already on, but the front doors were locked. He knocked twice before Nora let him in, keys jingling at her side. "You're early," she said, rubbing her temples. "Couldn't sleep." She gave a nod that said she understood. Her eyes were puffy this morning, like sleep had been just as scarce for her. Inside, the morning shift was already moving. The kitchen guy, thin, late 20s, hair tied back, was prepping the fryer. A woman in her 50s mopped the entry tiles. Neither looked up. "Who handles morning setup?" Nathaniel asked. "Mostly me," Nora muttered. "Josh doesn't come until 10 unless we're short." "And are we short?" "Always." Nathaniel followed her toward the back, past the arcade machines that hadn't worked in weeks. Two were unplugged. One blinked erratically, frozen on a game over screen. "Maintenance been through lately?" he asked. She gave a dry laugh. "We're supposed to file requests through regional. Takes a month. Sometimes two." The break room was a windowless box with a flickering light. A small fridge buzzed loudly in the corner. A whiteboard listed the weekly schedule, and it immediately grabbed Nathaniel's attention. "You've got people pulling 6 days straight," he said. Nora didn't even look. "Some of us are lucky if we get one day off." He scanned the names. Hers was listed every day this week, including a double on Saturday. "You ever get help from the other locations?" "They're worse off than we are." Nathaniel didn't press further. He already knew what it meant corporate hadn't been checking in. And if they had, they weren't listening. By 9, customers started trickling in. Parents with toddlers. A group of teenagers. 2 elderly men carrying their own bowling shoes and matching wrist braces. Nathaniel watched how the staff handled each group. The woman who'd been mopping, her name tag read Dolores, was now at the counter. She was kind, patient, explaining each price clearly. No rounding up. No added fees. She even gave one of the kids a coupon from under the counter. Josh arrived at 10:15, sunglasses on indoors. He didn't greet anyone, just walked past the counter, muttered coffee, and disappeared into the back. Nathaniel waited for him to emerge. He didn't. 30 minutes later, Nathaniel was assigned to lane maintenance. That meant responding to any jams or returns gone wrong. He shadowed a lanky kid named Marcus, who looked about 19. "Ever fix a ball return before?" Marcus asked. "Nope."
"Cool.
"We'll both learn." They spent 20 minutes unsticking a lane where a gummy bear had fused to the return belt. Marcus handled it carefully, cleaned it properly, swapped the belt tension. Clearly knew more than he let on. "You been here long?" Nathaniel asked. "Since last summer. I dropped out of community college. Needed rent money." "You like it?" Marcus shrugged. "It's fine. I mean, it was better when Andre was here." "Who's Andre?" "He was the old GM. Got transferred to another location. He was chill."
"Fair."
Josh came in after. Nathaniel waited. "Things got weird," Marcus said finally. "How so?" Marcus glanced around. "He started changing prices. Told us to eyeball the wallet before ringing people in. Took tips from the party staff. Said they went toward maintenance, but stuff never got fixed." Nathaniel's jaw tightened. "Did anyone report it?" "Yeah, one of the girls did. She quit a week later." "Why?" "Said she got her hours cut to nothing."
"No explanation."
Nathaniel didn't respond. That wasn't just mismanagement. That was retaliation. By lunch, the place picked up. A birthday party arrived, 10 kids, 2 overworked parents, and a cake that someone had clearly made at home. Dolores took the lead, setting up the table, getting shoes sorted, organizing bumpers. She moved like she'd done it 1,000 times, but her limp was obvious. She favored her right side. Nora pulled Nathaniel aside, near the supply closet. "Can you run kitchen for an hour? We're short." "Kevin's gotta take his break." He nodded and slipped into the kitchen as Kevin stepped out. The kitchen was hot, cramped, and understocked. The fryer sizzled with oil that probably hadn't been changed in days. There were only 2 clean trays. Everything else was in the sink, untouched. Orders stacked quickly. Fries, nachos, 1 pizza that looked like it had to be reheated twice to make it cook through. Nathaniel worked fast, but the system was broken. He yelled out the next number, and no one came. There was no intercom. No table numbers. It was a guessing game. After 30 minutes, a woman came up, frustrated. That's the wrong order. We didn't get cheese sticks. Nathaniel apologized, remade the tray, and handed it to her personally. She gave him a tired smile. You're new, huh? Just started. Hang in there. This place used to be great. Kevin returned just as Nathaniel was wiping down the counter. He looked surprised to find everything running. Usually it's chaos when I come back, Kevin said. I did my best. You did better than most. Nathaniel stepped out, wiped sweat from his face, and walked to the back. Josh was lounging in the office, feet on the desk, scrolling on his phone. The schedule was still open on the computer. Need something? Josh asked without looking up. I was just checking if you needed help with anything. Nope. Just let Nora run the floor. She likes playing manager. Nathaniel didn't respond. Back on the floor, he found Dolores crouched near the party table, helping a child tie their shoe. Her hands trembled slightly. He reached for a tray to help with cleanup, and she smiled at him. Not many new hires jump in like that. Just trying to pull my weight. She paused, then said, You remind me of Andre. Why's that? He listened. That landed heavier than she knew. At 4, a couple came in mid-40s, sharp clothes, leather bag. They asked for 2 games, but Josh came out from the office to handle the register himself. He greeted them like old friends. Let's comp one of the games, he said smoothly. On the house. Nathaniel watched from a distance. Why'd they get a free game? He asked Nora afterward. She was wiping down lane tables. Real estate agents, she said. Josh says they bring high-value clientele. And the families? They bring noise. Nathaniel felt something in his chest twist. He stayed until close. Helped mop. Carried trash out. Watched Nora clean the bathrooms herself because the closing janitor had quit 2 weeks ago and hadn't been replaced. Why'd you stay late? She asked as they locked up. I wanted to see how the day ends. She looked at him for a long moment. Most people don't. He nodded once, then turned to leave. Tomorrow, he'd bring the regional HR rep with him. And he wouldn't be coming in as Neil. Wednesday morning, Nathaniel walked into the Midbrook location in his regular clothes, navy button-down, black jeans, no disguise. The staff had no idea what was coming. He was 45 minutes early. The building was quiet, only the hum of the soda machine in the lobby. Nora was already behind the counter, typing something into the POS system, sleeves rolled up. She looked over when the door opened, but didn't recognize him until he was much closer. Her hands paused on the keyboard. She blinked once, slowly. She started. He nodded. Nathaniel Owens. She stepped back a half step, not in fear, just stunned. I need you to gather everyone who's on shift this morning, he said. We're having a meeting. In the party room. She hesitated, then reached for the walkie clipped to her belt. By 9, the party room was packed. The kitchen worker, Kevin, stood near the back with crossed arms. Marcus leaned against the wall, chewing on a straw. Dolores sat at one of the plastic tables, hands folded neatly. Every employee on shift, except one. Josh wasn't there. Nathaniel waited an extra 2 minutes, then nodded at Nora. Let's begin. He stepped forward, no podium, no slides. Just him and the truth. I've spent the last 2 days working here under a different name. I watched how this location runs. I watched how you work, how you treat customers, how you treat each other. He scanned the room. Some eyes avoided his. Others locked onto him, like they were waiting for a verdict. Most of you are working under conditions I never approved. Broken systems, inappropriate policies, and no support from leadership. Kevin shifted in his spot. So you saw the kitchen. That explains a lot. Nathaniel nodded once. I saw it all. A quiet knock interrupted them. The door opened. Josh stepped in, sunglasses perched on his head, coffee in hand. He froze when he saw Nathaniel. Morning, Josh said cautiously. Nathaniel didn't greet him back. Take a seat. Josh didn't move. I said sit down, Nathaniel repeated, voice sharper now. Josh sat near the exit, arms folded tight across his chest. I want to start by talking about pricing, Nathaniel continued. There is no such thing as discretionary pricing. This company has a set price structure, and it exists for a reason. We don't charge people based on their wallets. That's not just unethical, it's illegal. He turned toward Josh. I reviewed the register logs from the last 3 months. I saw the manual overrides. I saw the inconsistent totals. You've been altering charges and coaching others to do the same. Josh leaned forward. With all due respect, this location's revenue was up for the first time in 2 years. I made that happen. At what cost? Nathaniel asked. You ran off regular customers. You made families feel embarrassed for asking why their bill was higher. You created a culture of fear. Josh started to respond, but Nathaniel cut him off. You also took tip money from part-time staff. You told them it was for maintenance. But the maintenance logs show no completed service orders since February. Where did that money go? Josh's mouth opened, but no words came. Stand up, Nathaniel said, voice low and firm. Josh stood slowly. You're done. Pack your things. Leave the building. Effective immediately. Josh looked around the room, waiting for someone to defend him. No one did. He scoffed under his breath. You're overreacting. Nathaniel didn't blink. You've been exploiting both employees and customers. I'm not overreacting. I'm correcting a failure in leadership mine. Josh left without another word. The room stayed silent for several seconds after the door closed. Nathaniel looked at Nora. You're the interim GM, starting today. Her eyes widened.
What?
You've been holding this place together without the title or support. That changes now. She looked like she might argue, but stopped herself. You'll get pay adjustment paperwork by the end of the week, he added. And we're hiring 2 new support staff. Immediately. Until then, your only job is to stabilize the floor.
No doubles. No han pago overtime.
Kevin raised a hand slightly. What about the kitchen? I'm bringing in a regional sanitation rep. We'll deep clean tonight. You'll get proper tools, and a new fryer is already on order. It was supposed to be replaced last fall. Dolores spoke next. The arcade machines? They're being replaced, not repaired. We're getting newer ones with maintenance contracts. She gave a single, slow nod. That was the most emotion Nathaniel had seen from her since arriving. Marcus piped up, voice cautious. What about the hours? Are we getting cut now that Josh is gone? No, Nathaniel said. In fact, we're adding shifts. We'll be reintroducing birthday packages with fair pricing and proper staffing. You'll have more hours but balanced, with days off built in. He stepped back and let those words settle. Then he added, I'm staying in town for the next week. I'll be here every day, not watching from an office, working. If you need something, you come to me directly. The meeting ended in a quiet wave of relief.
No applause.
Just the kind of calm that follows when a storm breaks. Afterward, Nathaniel sat in the now empty party room, reviewing a stack of incident reports Nora handed him ones Josh had never forwarded to corporate. They painted a picture of a place that had been slowly hollowed out. Not by bad people, but by bad priorities. At noon, a mother and her 2 kids walked in. Nathaniel watched from the lane tables as Nora greeted them with a smile and charged them the correct amount. No games, no rounding. The little girl picked a bright green bowling ball and hugged it like it was treasure. Nathaniel turned to Marcus. Can you help them get set up on lane 4? Marcus nodded and jogged over. Nathaniel stood, walked toward the counter, and took his place behind it. He still had work to do. But for the first time in a long time, it felt like the company he'd dreamed of building was back within reach. Friday began differently. Nathaniel arrived just after sunrise with 2 large boxes in his arms. He placed them on the counter and opened the top one. Inside were fresh uniforms, neatly folded, each with a name tag already stitched. The old red polos had been replaced with navy ones and breathable aprons for kitchen staff. Nora stepped out from the back room, clipboard in hand, eyes still scanning the morning prep checklist. She didn't notice him at first. New uniforms, Nathaniel said, tapping the box gently. She blinked, then slowly reached for one with her name on it. She didn't say anything right away. They're moisture-wicking, he added, as she ran a thumb along the fabric. I didn't think we'd matter enough for this, she said, more to herself than to him. You do. Every one of you does. The night before, he'd stayed late to finish reviewing all employee files. Not just for Midbrook, but the entire region. He'd found recurring patterns, overlapping shifts without breaks, requests for repairs ignored, and high turnover tied directly to specific managers. Josh wasn't the first, just the worst. By 8:30, the team had gathered in the back for a short meeting. This time, Nathaniel stood with them, not at the front, but in a circle. I've made a commitment to visit every location in the region over the next 6 months, he said. But I'm starting here with a pilot program. You're the first team to get full autonomy over your shift schedules. Marcus's eyebrows lifted. Like, we make our own.
With oversight, yes.
Nora and I will review it together. But this isn't just about when you work. It's about trusting you to know how to run your space. The team murmured, surprised. Kevin scratched his head. What about supplies? We've been short on gloves for 2 weeks. Already ordered. They arrived today. And I've authorized direct ordering for essentials. No more waiting for regional approval on basic things. Dolores raised her hand slightly. The old cleaning supplies. They irritated my skin. The bleach especially. I saw your note in the incident log. We've replaced everything with food-safe, low-sensitivity alternatives. Let me know if they still cause issues. We'll adjust again. Dolores gave a slow nod, then returned her gaze to the floor, the way people do when they don't want to show relief, so plainly. Nathaniel turned to Nora. You'll be meeting with HR Monday. That's when we'll discuss the permanent GM position. She didn't react immediately. Then she asked, will I still be doing inventory and front desk and handling customer complaints?
No.
We're hiring a dedicated operations assistant. You'll focus on management, not survival. She gave a quiet breath that sounded closer to a laugh. I didn't think you noticed that. I didn't. Not until I saw it firsthand. The meeting ended without fanfare. Everyone moved back into their roles, but the energy had shifted. It wasn't celebratory, just grounded. By early afternoon, 2 deliveries arrived. One with the supplies Kevin had flagged. The second, a surprise Nathaniel hadn't announced, was a new arcade unit, air hockey. It was simple, affordable, and reliable. And unlike the old machines, it worked. Marcus helped will it into place. This was my favorite game as a kid, he said. Nathaniel nodded. Then teach the others how to maintain it. Seriously? Seriously. As they set it up, a group of middle schoolers entered. One of them, a boy with a loud blue backpack and untied shoes, ran straight toward the arcade corner and stopped short, eyes wide. You got air hockey now? Nathaniel didn't answer. He just stepped aside and let the kid dive into a game with his friend, both of them laughing before the first puck even hit the goal. Later that day, Nathaniel sat with Dolores on her 15-minute break. They shared a small table near the staff lockers. She sipped from a thermos, hands careful. Do you still think this place can change? He asked. She looked out toward the lanes, where a toddler was waddling toward a bowling ramp, arms spread wide for balance. I think it already has, she said. But the question is, will it stay that way when you leave? I've asked myself the same thing. You can't fix everything yourself, she said. But if you put the right people in place, they'll carry it. He nodded slowly. That's the plan. By 5, the alley was full. Not packed, but comfortably alive. Music played not too loud, just enough to fill the silences. The lighting was warmer. Nathaniel had ordered the harsh fluorescents replaced with softer LEDs. Customers didn't notice directly, but they lingered longer. Out on lane 6, a family of 5 bowled with matching shoes and shared a single pizza. The father took pictures while the mother helped the youngest line up a shot. No one argued about prices. No one left early. At the counter, a woman approached with a question about a refund one of the games had glitched. Marcus handled it calmly, offered a free round, and walked her back to the lane to make sure it was fixed. Nathaniel leaned against the far wall and watched. Just watched. Nora walked up beside him, arms crossed. "You're not going to check the register totals?" she asked. "No need. I trust you. That's dangerous in this business." "I know. Do it anyway." She gave him a sidelong look. "You going back to corporate next week?" "Not yet. I've got a few more days here. Want to make sure the transition is solid." She didn't push further. Instead, she asked, "What are you going to do about the other locations?" "Start from the ground like I did here. No more reports without visits. No more metrics without context. You're going to be busy."
Good.
I forgot what that felt like. That night, Nathaniel helped mop the entry again, not because he had to, but because it felt right. Kevin was in the kitchen finishing the deep clean. Dolores had already clocked out, and Marcus was helping a customer carry leftover balloons to their car. Before locking up, Nora handed Nathaniel a small envelope. "What's this?" he asked. "Customer feedback from today. We've been collecting it manually since our online system's still down." He opened it. Inside were scraps of paper, napkins, and receipt backs with handwritten notes. Most were simple. "Thank you for being kind. Cleanest it's ever been. My kids had a great time." One just read, "We're coming back next weekend." First time we've said that in a long time. Nathaniel folded the notes and put them in his coat pocket. As they turned off the lights, he looked back one last time at the lanes. Pins reset, tables cleared, machines humming quietly. It wasn't perfect. It wouldn't be for a while. But it was honest again. Outside, the air was cold. Nora locked the doors behind them. "You good?" she asked. "I am," he said. And for once, he meant it.